The Monday, March 2nd, 2020, Lauderdale County Board of Supervisors meeting now in session with President Kyle Rutledge presiding.
Thank you. Big crowd this morning. Please put your cell phone on silent or vibrate, and please stand for the prayer and pledge. Mr. Jonathan Wells will provide the prayer.
All right, if you'll pray with me. Well, Father, we just bring ourselves before you this morning. Just pray that we do your will and glorify you in all that we say and do. Father, as always, we just thank you for everybody on the front lines, our veterans, our law enforcement. We lift them up to you and just pray your blessings over them. Again, Father, help us to do your will and glorify you in all we say and do this morning. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Wells. All right, we have approval of agenda even date. So, second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Approval of minutes dated February 18th, 2020 and February 27th, 2020. So moved. Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. We have our first proclamation provided by Mr. Joe Norwood. We have the 2020 census. May I proceed, sir? Yes, sir.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm good.
Have a bell with me.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I have a proclamation here for the 2020 Census Complete Count Committee. Whereas the U.S. Census Bureau is required by the U.S. Constitution to conduct a count of population and provide a historic opportunity to help shape the foundation of our society and play an active role in American democracy. And whereas the Lauderdale County Board of Supervisors is committed to ensuring every resident in this county. And whereas federal and state funding is allocated to communities and decisions are made on matters of national and local importance based in part on census data and housing. And whereas census data help determine how many seats each state will have in the U.S. House of Representatives and is necessary for an accurate and fair redistricting of state legislative seat, county and city councils, and voting district. And whereas the information collected by the census is confidential and protected by law. And whereas the Lauderdale County Board of Supervisors Complete Count Committee will work with the Census Bureau to strive for an accurate count. And whereas the Lauderdale County Board of Supervisors Complete Count Committee will bring together a cross-section of community members who will utilize their local knowledge and expertise to reach out to all persons of our community. And now, therefore, it be resolved that the Lauderdale County Board of Supervisors establish a 2020 Census Complete Count Committee to increase awareness and understanding about the 2020 census and encourage people to participate in the 2020 census. So ordered this second day of March 2020 is signed by our President, Mr. Kyle Rutledge, and Sarah, I enter this into a formal motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
You have the podium. Yeah, we would love to hear from you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's televised, so you can get
Speak to it.
Sarah.
I'm here on behalf of the Census Bureau and the 2020 census. Every 10 years, our country does a population count. It is mandated by the U.S. Constitution. It is in Article 1, Section 2. That is the 6th sentence of the Constitution. It comes before freedom of speech. One has been conducted every 10 years since 1790. We have some issues with some harder to count areas, which are minorities, children, people who are under 5, disabled, and things like that. So what we're asking is for people to help us, to motivate people to respond. This is the first time that we will be doing the census online. We're doing a real big push for people to respond online, and we want people counted as of April the 1st. That is Census Day. So if people are confused about that, we want you counted as of where did you stay on April the 1st. People will start receiving their surveys in about 2 to 3 weeks. You will get a survey in your household, and we want you to fill it out right then. You can do it online. It is 10 questions, very simple questions. It takes 10 minutes, but the impact is for 10 years. The House, like he said, the House of Representatives will be redistricted or reapportioned. You all locally will be redistricted and stuff like that, but more importantly than that, trillions of dollars over the next 10 years will be allocated to this community for schools, for roads, for services, and many, many other things. So we are trying to get a complete and accurate count, and we want anybody and everybody who is willing to help us do that to come forward and help us do that. Your responses to the census are completely confidential. Nobody sees this information. We swear a lifetime oath. It's not just for the duration of the job, it is for the rest of our lifetime. If we tell anybody anything that we learn while we're working for the census, then we are under subject of $250,000 fine and 5 years in federal prison. So this is very important. It's very important that we don't want people to think that it's going to hurt them in any way. It can't hurt you to respond to the census. It can only help you, and it can only help our community to have a much higher response rate. The lower the response rate, the more chance there is that we are undercounted and then we are underfunded. If you have 100 people who live in an area, and you're supposed to get, it's actually much more than $1, but I'm just using this as an example. You're supposed to get $1 to provide things for them, for each person, but only half of them respond, then you only get $50, but you still have to provide the services for all 100 people. So it's very important that people respond to this. And we really need, we're going to get your committee together, we're going to train them, and we're going to tell them what we know. We're going to show them where the low response areas are in the county. We're going to teach them how to use the resources that we have. They will implement their own strategy for reaching these people. So we don't run your committee. You will appoint them and a chairperson and then a liaison that we will talk to. And they will implement these things themselves. And then when the website opens, which will be March the 23rd, they will be able to go online and see how the responses are coming in. So if we need extra help in some areas, then they can motivate people in those areas. If they're not going to see the actual responses, of course, like I said, that's completely confidential, but they can see how the areas are responding, whether it's 60, 70, 80% are responding. In May, if people have not responded, we will start sending census takers out to their house, and non-response follow-up will take place in May, June, and July. So at the end of July, the website will close, the census takers will all be, it's all over. And once the data is put in, it's right or wrong for 10 years. We don't get but one chance to do it every 2 years. So it's very important. And we really want anybody who is willing to help us spread the message about the 2020 census to do so. But what we want is for people to just self-respond. It's so easy to do. It takes 10 minutes. Who doesn't have 10 minutes to affect the lives of the people and their children for 10 years? A child who is 5 now will be 15 years old by the time we get a chance to do it again. So it's really important, and it's so easy to do. It's questions that you already know the answer to. It's not like a pop quiz that you have to look up. It's simple questions. They're not even asking about your, we never ask like social security number. We're not asking for any kind of banking information. We're not asking for your income or anything like that. It's very simple. Your name, your birthday, how old you are, what color you are, what sex you are, whether you're Hispanic, how the people are in your household are related to you, and if they're not related to you, we still count them. We want everybody in the household counted. So we want to make sure that every single person knows about the census, and we want to make sure that every person responds to the census. We don't want them to fear it. There is no reason to fear it. It really cannot hurt anybody. So we're here, and we are ready to train anybody and everybody who wants to help and answer any questions that anybody has. We will come speak to your churches, your civic organizations, anything like that, any events that you have, anything anything like that. We are ready. We're motivated, so we're ready to get your people motivated as well here in Lauderdale County.
We appreciate Ms. Krista Shepherd being our liaison
Yes.
for Lauderdale County. We thank you for coming today,
Okay,
and
thank you so
we
much.
appreciate it. We're going to do what we can to spread the word.
I appreciate that. I really do.
I have a question.
Sure.
If I'm living with a family member in certain locations and I do not supposed to be in that residence, you telling me I don't have any concerns or worry that, usually that is a complex that some people have. They're living where they don't supposed to be, and that's why they don't do the census, because they're concerned that Uncle Sam is watching them and tracking them. And I just heard you say, however many people living in a household need to be counted.
Yes.
How can we assure people that they don't have anything to worry about as long as they put them out the census?
How can we assure people?
Yeah, I mean,
By
just people-
telling them, but I know for a fact that they don't have anything to worry about. Those responses are completely confidential. We don't tell anybody. We cannot share it with any other organization. We don't share it with law enforcement. We do not share it with immigration. We do not share it with the housing authorities, with HUD, with anybody. We collect the data. We do not share the personal information, so we can't tell anybody. If you have somebody who is hiding from the law, and we know, we can't tell on them because we will go to prison for 5 years if we tell this information. We're not allowed to. We are absolutely not allowed to, so they do not need to fear that. Their landlord will not find out. Nobody will find out. If they are not supposed to be where they are, we want them counted where they are because it's important that they are counted. They still matter. They still count. Everybody matters. Everybody counts. But we can't share that information with anybody. We're not allowed to.
Am I correct in saying if a person do not fill out the census, for example, here in my reading Lauderdale County, we as the county board of supervisors will lose $10,000 or $1,000 per year for that one person?
There is a certain amount of money that will be lost per person, but I cannot tell you how much it is because the Census Bureau did not publish that data, so we're not technically publicly allowed to tell you. But I can show you where you can find it, but there is a certain amount of money that will be lost for each person that is not counted in the place that they're supposed to be. Yes, that's true.
We would like to encourage the residents to fill out the census report because by my record, if you do not, you have lost us $10,000 per person. By not
that's
filling out
correct.
the census report. We need that money to pay the streets. We got bridges that are out right now.
Exactly.
Right.
It's very important. It's very important.
Thank you so much for coming, and we'll be in contact with the committee and everything.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you. All right, can we move to the proclamation for West Lauderdale Girls Soccer? Mr. Todd.
All right. Coach Sandra, Coach George, and Coach George. We have two of them. Before I get started, y'all will just come over on the other side of the table. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize the high school principal. Thank you, Mr. Shane Rogers. Then you have Coach Alex George, Coach Sandra Lau, and Coach Peyton George. Before we get started, ladies, I would like for y'all to stand up, introduce yourself, and tell them what position you play in the soccer team.
Speak up, can hear you.
Yeah, these guys are really old now, so you have to sort of holler at them.
I'm Emma Ramsey. I'm in the 10th grade, and I'm Riley Dunlap. I'm in the 7th grade. I'm Gracie Bunyan. I'm in the 10th grade. I'm Abigail Sanders, and I'm in the 9th grade. I'm in defense. I'm Madison Hayes. I'm in the 9th grade, and I play defense. Emily Arias, 10th grade, and defense. Molly Vincent, 10th grade. I'm Madeline Strickland. I'm Zoe Clark. I'm in the 9th grade.
and Coach Sandra Rao. All right, ladies, I know of course you get out of school for a couple hours, and you get to come to this old building with some older guys. But what's cool about this day is you will forever go down in history of Lauderdale County. So at any time you can actually Google the day and what we've done and voted on today. You will actually see all the accomplishments in here and your name. Each one of y'all will get one of these to take home. You can keep it, fire with it outside, whatever you want to do. It is up to you. It is yours, but you can do what you want. But your names will actually be in the Lauderdale County history from now on. So 20 years from now, 30 years from now, you have children playing soccer, and they're just having been in the same situation. You can say, hey, there's my name. This is what we did for Lauderdale County and West Lauderdale. So, with that being said, we will start the proclamation off. It says, whereas, recognizing the West Lauderdale Lady Knights soccer team. Whereas on February the 8th, 2020, the West Lauderdale, and guys, I would like y'all to listen to the numbers. These are very impressive numbers that these ladies put up this year and in the past year. The West Lauderdale Lady Knights soccer team clinched the victory over Florence High School by a score of 5-0 to win the MHSAA 4A State Soccer Championship for the second year back-to-back in a row. And whereas the West Lauderdale Lady Knights team ended the 2020 season with a record of 23 wins, 3 ties, 1 loss, scoring 147 goals while only allowing 7 to be scored. With 16 district championships, the compiled district playoff goals are as follows. Northeast 14-0 and 16-0. Choctaw 7-0 and 8-0. Louisville 16-0 and 19-0. Compiled North State scores are as follows. Raymond 11-0, Mooreville 4-1, and Newton County 4-0. And whereas the Lady Knights has held the MHSAA 4A State Championship title for 4 of the past 5 years, 2016, 2017, 2019, and 2020. With a senior class compiling a record of 92 wins, 3 ties, and 8 losses. And whereas the Lady Knights are ranked number 1 in the state, number 4 in the nation, district champions, and North State champions. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Lauderdale County, Mississippi, congratulate the West Lauderdale Lady Knights soccer team consisting of Anna Mia, Lucy Green, Kristen Hayes, Catherine Canute, Rayleigh Mayap, Anna Claire Nance, Haley Dial, Addison Pope, Ember Temple, Alice Williamson, Emily Arias, Gracie Bunyer, Riley Dunlap, Emma Ramsey, Ashlyn Shirley, Lily Benson, Bailey Fairley, Haley Harrison, Madison Hayes, Anna Kate Humphreys, Abigail Sanders, Alexa Shirley, Copeland Tillery, Jolie Todd, Elise Wilson, Catherine Bounds, Katie Link, Ainsley Mason, Ella Morris, Carson Mott, Harvey Reed, Emily Snodgrass, Josie Wiggins, Lillian Anderson, Maddie Kate Bunyer, Haley Graham, and Anna Benson. Be it further resolved that the Lauderdale County Board of Supervisors does hereby recognize head coach Alex George, assistant coach Sandra Rowell, and goalkeeper coach Peyton George as great leaders and outstanding examples to their players both on and off the field. So resolved this second day of March 2020, signed by President Kyle Rutledge, and I put this into a form of a motion.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Now, ladies, so y'all will forever be in the history of Lauderdale. And not a criminal record. This is a good way to start it off. All right, ladies, if you will. All right, if you're a senior, will you please stand up? If you're a senior. you please tell the board what y'all are gonna do after you graduate here in a couple months?
I'm going to most community college to play soccer and eventually get ready. I'm going to engineering so I can play soccer. I'm going to city college
And I know we have Chris, I don't think Kristen's name. Lucy Green is going to Ole Miss, and Kristen is actually
U.S. Air Force.
the U.S. Air Force, so she will be going on to protect our country. So these ladies are not only good on the field, they're actually excellent off the field. They didn't get this good by sitting at home practicing just a couple months out of the year. The coach Sandra took a team from Mobile, AFC hosts 5 girls. They won the Eastern Shore Cup this past weekend or yesterday. So these coaches do a great job with it. The system of practicing on the beach. For so long, they didn't even have a practice field. They have already just a field from the Corps of Engineers, and that's where they play. And if you go out the state and talk to parents, they say, well, man, y'all's practice field must be nice. And the coaches will say, no, we don't have a practice field. No lines, no nothing, just a couple goals set up at the end, and that's what they played on. And if you fell on it, ladies, it hurt. There's nothing soft about what these girls practice on every day. So, congratulations, ladies. I did miss a couple games, but y'all are awesome, and I encourage y'all to watch these girls. If you watch it on TV, this is what you see these girls play like. Their precision, they're accurate, they know what their next step is, they're very good, and they are a joy to watch. And seniors, I hate for y'all to be leaving, but I know y'all are going to do great things. And I think a lot of County is to need your tax dollars. That's how we get paid. So whenever you do graduate, please come back. Coach George, podium yours.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank President Rutledge, thank you, Mr. Rutledge, thank each and every one of the board members and all the associates and everyone who's guests here today for having us. I think everything's been spoken, needs to be spoken. And I just always believe, I learned something from my dad, too, that the first 10 minutes of every encounter with a person is the most important 10 minutes. And I believe that. Thank you guys for giving us some tips. I really do appreciate it. Girls work hard for it. These are my people. And I'm glad to meet y'all, to see on TV all the time. We're like, I'm so glad to get to go see them, in live. But y'all are a big deal, and we really appreciate what y'all do for our county and everyone. So the first 10 minutes of every encounter in the life. So thank you guys.
And we'll see y'all here this time next year.
Hope so. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Good job.
You go ahead, I'll be back.
You'll clear it out. I think they're going to leave you here. They were trying.
They were waiting for somebody to...
They were trying. What have y'all grabbed? What proclamations right there? There's your proclamations.
All of them?
All of them. All of them. Forgot it. All right, our next proclamation will be for blinded veterans by Mr. Jonathan Wells.
Okay. Is there a representative from BVA in the audience? Is there a representative to accept this?
I'm not sure.
You want me to go ahead?
You can do it from your
Okay.
seat. Nobody's here.
All right. Since no one's here, I'll read it from right here. This is a proclamation for the Blinded Veterans Association. Whereas, from the beginnings, the Blinded Veterans Association members demonstrated to all veterans with visual impairments how to take their rightful place in the community, creating a world built upon equality. And whereas, BBA, after 75 years, still continues to advocate for veterans with combat-related, accidental, or age-related vision impairments to regain independence, confidence, and self-esteem through rehabilitation, training, and assisting their fellow veterans with visual impairments. And whereas we recognize that the goals and ideals of BVA should be supported by citizens everywhere, and whereas the Louisiana-Mississippi affiliate of the Blinded Veterans Association is dedicated to improving blind rehabilitation services, education, and benefits for blinded veterans throughout the United States, and whereas many Americans recognize March 28th of each year as Blinded Veterans Day, therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Lauderdale County Board of Supervisors do hereby proclaim March 28, 2020 as Blinded Veterans Day and celebrate the 75th anniversary of the BVA in the county of Lauderdale, Mississippi. So it resolved this second day of March 2020, and this is signed by our President, Kyle Rutledge, and I present this to the board in the form of a motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Wells. Thank you. All right, let's move to Will Calhoun for the Sheriff's Department.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
One clarification on our agenda, number 6 is incorrect. I have it on there wrong. It's not a sole source. It will be just approving the purchase of 2 signed quotes. First item, of course, personnel doesn't take any action. Number 2, I need the board to approve to remove from inventory a 2012 Nissan Versa. The VIN number is there. It's a vehicle involved in a motor vehicle crash, and the insurance company has totaled that vehicle.
So moved. Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Number 3 and 4 do not want to do them together, but just to explain them very quickly, each year we, since 1997, have applied for and received a grant from the state of Mississippi. One is the Occupant Protection Grant, the other is the DUI Enforcement Grant. Both those grants provide monies in the Occupant Protection Grant for deputies to work additional hours enforcing our state seatbelt law, child safety seat law, and the DUI grant funds 2 positions for 2 deputies, one on each of our night shifts to enforce our DUI law. Today, we're only requesting the board to approve that we apply for the grant. We'll do that. We'll need the board president's signature on that documentation to send in, and then we'll come back to the board once an award is given. We will make the assumption we will receive something, and the board will need to approve it again at that time. So today, requesting that you give the board president permission to sign that documentation for our 2020-2021 occupant protection grant.
So moved. Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
And then same request for our DUI grant.
So moved. Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Number 5, Robin McClure, our fire investigator, is planning on attending the Mississippi Fire Investigators Association Spring Seminar 2020, which will be held in Oxford March 25th through 27th. Registration will be $200, lodging $374.55, and per diem is being requested in the amount of $184, with the cost of this training being paid for out of our budget.
So moved. Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
And the last item is the request to board authorize the purchase of 10 body cameras and 7 in-car video cameras from TCS Ware. They were the lowest quote that we received too. And this is a system that we currently use, the L3 Mobile Vision, with our software. It's where the sole source letter misinformation came in. That's my fault.
So moved. I'll second. Any discussion? Mr. President,
Do you have a quoted price?
I do. It's I'm sorry. It's $44,810.
do you have the other 2 quotes?
Miss Stephanie's got it.
Okay, you got, does that have to be included in your minutes and stuff?
Put those in minutes.
Okay, all right, make sure Miss Carolyn gets some.
We will.
Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Nothing else on our agenda, subject to any questions from the board?
I was this is more of a challenge to the sheriff, but I think he should be included in it too. Last night I went to Revival in Clark County and Todd Kemp's singing group. Okay, I was thinking that would be great if you and the sheriff started a little like duet thing. Yeah,
I appreciate the fact that you think
yeah.
that I am one who makes a joyful noise, and on occasion my wife at church will elbow me and say, wow, because I don't.
Well, the Bible says make a joyful
And that's
noise
why I'm
or
doing
a
that.
holy racket.
Well, I haven't read that part, but I'll go with you.
Second or first.
I don't see that happening anytime soon.
But
You're just doing the holy racket.
I went up to him afterwards. I was impressed. He can sing. I never knew he could do that. It was impressive. That's what I told him. I said, I'm gonna go back and tell the sheriff and Ward they're gonna have to tighten up.
I'm excited for it.
Thank you, Mr. Ward.
I think Ward's better at stand-up.
Yeah, he does do pretty good.
He's an actor too.
He does.
Yeah.
He does a good job.
Real and little thin.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Raymond.
Good morning, board. And you exclude me too, because it would be a joyful noise if I sang. But I mean, let me around the choir. I'd like to amend number 4. We had February the 29th, and I'd like to change that to March the 28th. That's when it'll be, our office will be open for homestead on that Saturday. So that's March the 28th.
Do we need a motion to amend?
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, number 1 is our normal thing, the change of assessments. Each one of y'all have a copy of that. It's presented on a spreadsheet, excellent spreadsheet.
Mr. President, upon the tax assessor's recommendation, I so move.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Number 2 is request approval for Randy Scarver to attend the 15-hour use PAP course on April the 13th through the 15th, 2020 in Jackson, Ridgely, Mississippi. Registration, hotel, per diem to be paid from the reappraisal funds, and the funds are in the budget.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Number 3, request approval for Randy Scarver to attend the IAAO course 102 Income Approach to Validation on May the 3rd through the 8th, 2020 in Starkville, Mississippi. Registration, hotel, and per diem to be paid from reappraisal fund, and the funds are in the budget.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Number 4 is the Homestead office will be open Saturday, March the 28th. This will be our last time from 8 to 12, and it's just a great thing for the taxpayers. We do appreciate y'all allowing us to do this. It's extremely important. It helps the people that normally can't come for 5 o'clock afterwards, especially if they're working, whatever the situation might be, grandmother or somebody else. Very much appreciate that. The other thing is, we've taken in approximately 900 applicants so far. We normally push around 1,500, so I'm sure the next 30 days will be real busy at this time of things. Encourage everyone that's over 65 and disabled to come in, please. At least call us, make sure that they're eligible or any of the requirements. That's one of the things when we was all campaigning over the years. Most of them know, well, I didn't know at 65 I had the different amount that goes on your taxes to be taken off. So that's been a goal. That's the reason you see us on the radio or wherever we need to be to promote this part of the program. Thank you, John. Unless y'all got any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Rain.
Thank y'all.
All right. We move to Mr. Mayat said he's to skip over him, so we'll hang around, meet you at the end. Ms. Carolyn Mooney.
Okay,
Good
good morning.
morning.
My first item I would like to submit for inclusion in the minutes of public notice advising of the date and time of this meeting pursuant to section 251413 Mississippi Code 1972. My next item, I need board approval for the first claims docket for the month of March and authorize the clerk to issue the warrants.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
And my next item, I need board approval for one oath of office.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. President, that concludes my agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Carolyn. All right. We move to Ms. Cheryl Poole, sitting for our county administrator.
Good morning. First item is just need to include in the minutes that the March 12th, 2020 work session was canceled. Number 2 is need approval to appoint the following to the Agri Center Advisory Board for a 4-year term: Shani Hay and E.W. Goodwin.
So moved. Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Number 3, need approval for the Mississippi Quarter Horse Youth Association to sell their own shavings as a fundraiser during the upcoming show at the Agri Center in March.
So moved. Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay. Number 4, need to ratify and approve the application for the 2020 Recreational Trails Program.
So moved. Second. I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. President, that concludes the agenda.
I think that's one of Chris's shorter
So what's
agendas.
the
That
one?
was
So I
nice
like
that you got the short agenda. All right, let's move to our board attorney, Mr. Leathagger.
All right, Mr. President. First item is in conjunction or cooperation with our bond counsel, Sam Keys and Butler Snow. We have for you a lengthy resolution, which would be it's a resolution authorizing and directing the issuance of general obligation bonds, Series 2020 of Lauderdale County, Mississippi. Principal amount of $10 million for the purpose of constructing, reconstructing, repairing roads, highways, and bridges, acquiring the necessary land, including land for road building materials, acquiring rights-of-way therefor, and the purchase of heavy construction equipment, accessories thereto, reasonably required to construct, repair, and renovate roads, highways, bridges, and approaches thereto within the county. Purchasing or erecting, equipping, repairing, reconstructing, remodeling, and enlarging county buildings, courthouses, office buildings, jails, and related facilities, the purchase of land therefor, building and equipping parks, playgrounds, recreational centers, stadiums, lakes, waterfowl, or game management areas, and acquiring sites therefor, purchasing machinery and equipment which have an expected useful life in excess of 10 years, purchasing firefighting equipment and apparatus, and providing housing for same and purchasing land necessary therefor, and paying for the cost of issuance for the bonds and for related purposes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Said Sam and I both are here for their questions about the process, and we're going, from here, then certainly entertain those questions. Any questions for me, I'm going to defer to Sam.
Anybody have any questions, Mr. Keith?
Sam, any comments you would like to have or anything? Nope.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
I'm sorry, who's the second? Thank you, Mr. All right. Item 2, ask to consider resolution authorizing a public hearing to be held to consider closing a portion of a county road known as Bethany Church Loop. The remaining east-west portion, that's for the remaining east-west portion of Bethany Church Loop to the intersection of Jamie Robertson Road. You may remember it closed about a 0.3 mile portion of that east-west previously. So, and that would be for a public hearing to be held on April 6th at 9:30 a.m.
What was the date on that again?
April 6th. Next, first meeting in April.
At what time?
9:30.
9. Okay.
Need a motion? So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
So after this, we'll send notice by certified mail to all the adjoining landowners and also publish notice in the newspaper as well. Next item, submit for recording in the minutes a copy of the assignment and assumption of the lease agreement by and between Sealy 46th Avenue LLC and G&I 10 Industrial Meridian LLC. That's recorded in book 3019 at page 134. That's relative to the former Handy Hardware Project site lease. And actually, the document I sent to be included in the minutes was the wrong document. It was the estoppel certificate that was previously approved. That assignment was, and I'll get that to Kristen to put in the minutes, but that assignment was executed on December 12, 2019. Next item, ask you to consider a motion to authorize and approve an order canceling state aid project number SAP-3895, which is now being funded and constructed as Emergency Road and Bridge Repair Project number ERBR-SAP-3895 as pertaining to Woods Road.
So moved. Second. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Anyone sleep on that?
No,
Next, ask consider a motion to authorize and approve an order canceling federal aid bridge replacement project number STP/BR-04753B, which is now being funded and constructed as Emergency Road and Bridge Repair Project number ERBR-3801, as pertaining to Benville-Causeyville Road.
So moved. Second. Any discussion? Glad it's being in the process of being constructed. It needs some good weather.
Yeah, mine's built, thank goodness.
Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Next item, ask you to consider a motion to ratify and approve a service contract by and between the 10th Judicial Circuit Intervention Court and G4S Monitoring Technologies Limited relative to ankle monitoring services, and that's effective March 1, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
And gentlemen, subject to your questions, that does complete the legal agenda. There'll be a need for potentially for an executive session in the meeting. I don't have anything.
Good. All right, this brings us to the part of the meeting to other matters for general good and welfare, where anybody in the audience can come up and speak. You have 5 minutes, and just please state your name and address.
Good morning. My name is Ruby Kilpatrick, and the address is 5312 Branning Price Road. I come before you. I moved away from here 40 years ago, and it's time for me and my husband to retire, and we were thinking about coming back to the state of Mississippi. My mother is Ernestine Easley, and she lives in District 5. I believe you are the board person for District 5. And she has been on her property all of her life because that's where her homestead was. I come before you to ask you to rename the road that we currently live on. Somehow when the previous supervisors were here, the road was named Branning Price. Okay, first of all, Price don't live on that road. And secondly, I felt that the road should be named Kitty Easley. If you can't rename the road, is there any way you could add her name to the road? And my second reason I'm here, if we move back here, there's 5 families that live on the road. You know, I grew up over there, and I'm asking that the road be paved. I don't know how many people need to be on the road, but I don't want to come back, progress backward. I don't want to progress backwards. And my brother would like to move back home as well, and we want to build on that property. And there are other people that wants to build over on the property, but they don't want to build and go out on a dirt road. And in this day and age, I feel that the road needs to be paved. And I come before you petitioning that the road be paved. And I understand that over in Benville, Causeyville area, there is a bridge out but I don't think it would take that much to pave the road.
Thank you. We'll take everything you said in advisement, and under advisement, I will talk to the road manager, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay, so when would I be hearing from you? Because I don't live here, I live in the state of Ohio, and I come home every 2 months, but like I say, my husband is getting ready to retire from the Corps of Engineer after 43 years, and we are considering coming back here, and if we do, you know, I want to move to the county, but
Sure.
like
Okay.
I say,
We'll get your name and number, and you can give it to me now, or just a little bit, we'll get together.
well, I left my number on Friday, I came to talk to you on Friday, and I left it with the secretary.
Okay, we'll give you a call.
Okay?
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is James Powell, and that's my sister Ruby, and we both from Ohio, and I've already retired. So for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been coming down, spending my winters here. I like you guys' winter better than Ohio winter. Well, the first year I came down, I noticed I'm in Ward 2, Mr. Newell. We've talked a couple of times. He know my parents and everything. I've been gone for 40 years. Well, when I first came back, I live on 12th Avenue in the East End over here. Okay, down on 11th Avenue, the water was not running through the creek where it dumped off into 10th Avenue. So after talking to numerous of administrations and departments and whatnot, yes, they finally came out and opened up. Well, no, what they told me first was no one owned that lot, you know, so we don't have a reason to open it up. So I had to go out and buy a lot that was attached to mine that I had no use for, didn't want, and the water done opened the land up so bad it's really destroyed. So I went and purchased a lot, got it from the state, and that water been stopped up, to my understanding, at least 10, 12 years. So it has done a lot of damage in that property, plus up the property that we own, which is on 12th Avenue. This is 11th Avenue. So I bought that property and I called Public Works, and they came out and they got permission to what you call a release from liability, went on the other land, opened it up, did a good job. I said, now what about all the after effect work and eroded the rest of land away? I came back, gung-ho, wanted to be in Meridian, was gonna build a new house. And then I found out that if you tear the house down, you gotta go by the new codes and move it off the property line. Well, there comes to present the problem, because the property line now put me in an eroded ditch. So I asked them, you know, will you guys take care of the ditch? Well, at that time, it was, well, we don't have the fund, and we don't have the money, we don't have this. Well, I'm hearing about all these bonds money going around now, and I just want to know, how do private citizens get part with that? And mainly what I'm asking for is dirt and rock to fill back in the eroded creek. And I would actually like to put pipe underground and cover it back up. I know that could be a charge to me, or the city, the county. I've talked to the city about it. And somewhere I read that the city and county, I think it was the first meeting of the city meeting in December 17, and I have to do some more research, but the city and the county are supposed to do a joint venture as far as the creeks. I haven't been able to find out what that was about. Maybe Mr. Newell, we can get together later and you can explain it to me. But that's mainly what I'm asking for. You know, I'm looking to come back, and I know we got a ditch and creek problem over the whole city. But I'm coming here talking about being a taxpayer, building a new house right there in the East End, and it's like everything like, oh well, you know, build if you want to. I'm like, but what's the city and the county responsibility? I'm really not getting answers. So I like to find out, you know, how we can move this forward. And mainly I'm just asking for dirty rock to fill back in the eroded land before it erodes anymore. All right, thank you.
Mr. President, good to see you again, Mr. Powell.
Yes, sir.
As always, I have looked at this, and it is a ditch that runs down through there, and I don't know if Rush has an opportunity. What this ditch does, it runs all the way down and goes into, if if I'm not wrong, the ditch that comes under the road there at Silver Dollar Pond, I believe it is.
I've never been able to find the name of it, so.
But anyway, you're talking about interlocal agreement between the county and the city. We had a interlocal agreement with Robbins Creek out there between 10th Avenue and Highway 39, which is approximately 6 or 7 blocks, I would say. And we went in there and we had to clean the ditch out first because of all the trees and stuff that had failed, and then we put riprap down the side of the bank with a grant from Pat Harrison, and the city finished buying. The county did all the work, and Pat Harrison bought the riprap along with the city had to buy approximately $5,000. So we have to get our interlocal agreement before we, as a county, can help the city in a project like that. Am I not correct, Mr. Attorney?
Well, that was to fix a drainage project, right?
Yes,
So
and this is a drainage problem also.
what you got to be careful for is doing something that just benefits one landowner. I don't know the details of this one, but you can't take that public money just to provide to benefit private citizens. Something the public
Well, I'm sure it would benefit other people down the ditch, and I don't know who the other people are. I just know this gentleman's problem because he has talked to me, I'm going to say approximately 3 years ago.
Correct.
But to do the work in the city, the answer is yes, about going and doing further drainage work. That's something that certainly the city can do work without.
So if you want me to try to bring an interlocal agreement to this board, we would first have to look at it, and Rush would have to look at it to see if it would benefit more than yourself, and then he'd have to bring it to the board, correct?
Now, when I bought this other lot, and like you say, the water wouldn't run on. Water weighed 8.5 gallons, pound per gallon. So when that water rises up to go over 11th Avenue, that was a lot of pressure and a lot of weight that it was backing up. And you can see in the property where water take the path of least resistance. So a lot of time when it rained, it would go down and make a loop and turn back. So when I started asking about it, they said nobody owned that lot, so we didn't have to, more or less, didn't worry about opening. But you had your resident that lived in that 4-block area. I mean, mosquito was so bad, but mosquitoes fly by look like airplanes. You had, at that time, everybody was afraid of West Nile disease. You had the stagnant water there, snakes, danger to our kids, but nothing was getting done. So I came before the supervisor, and they saw fit, they got it done. So I just like to, keep getting stuff to improve, not just that community, but throughout.
Have you reached out to the city council? Excuse me, Mr. President. Have you reached out to the city council?
Yes, they said they would look at it, and another thing, who does it belong to? Who owns it? All back and forth.
Well, everything in the city has to start with the city before it can come to the board because of the ordinance of the city, correct?
The city's got jurisdiction in some territory.
And when we get down to the private individual, it wasn't the private individual that caused the damage, caused the erosion. It was the lack of maintenance that actually caused that. So to say we have to look at who we servicing, we also had to look at who was harmed. So it goes both ways, and that's all I'm trying to come to a consensus where we can go from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Powell.
All right. See anyone else who would like to come before the board? All right, we'll move to actions from supervisors. Mr. Wells.
Been sitting here racking my brain and can't come up with a thing to say. So, West Lauderdale Nice and Lady Nice were just here. I wanted to sing Big Time Players, made big time plays with so I'll leave it to Mr. Wood.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I certainly will take his time. First off, the lady that was talking about census, I certainly encourage everybody as a supervisor to certainly, when you have an opportunity to do the census, make sure you do it and do it correctly, because we as a state of Mississippi need all the representation that we can get, and we don't need to lose another representative. And next, I'd like to thank the county employees that worked this past weekend. It was a volunteer, and we had I don't know how many volunteers out there on a situation out there in Tumsuba on a bridge, but I want to thank them for working on their day off. And I know we paid them, but still, people responded to the need of work. So certainly relay that message that we want to thank them for taking their time off and working. Thanks, Mr. President.
I'd like to just thank y'all for letting me get all the young ladies in here to represent them. To them, it's not a really big deal right now, but maybe in the future it will be. But, you know, we often hear from the negative keyboard warriors on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and all that about, keyboard warriors about, you know, they know everything, but you know, they'll say you're making a mistake by ball fields, that's what they all, you know, love to cry and harp about and harp on. But if you want to call what we do as a board a mistake for those kids right there, then you need to go somewhere else. So I'll make a mistake every day or any day of the week for those kids right there. And not only because they're state championships, that's any of them. That's any children in Lauderdale County. If we don't invest in the children of Lauderdale County, then I think we're putting our priorities in the wrong place. Yes, we have economic development. Yes, we have deteriorating buildings. Yes, we have all this other stuff going on. But if those kids, or if the children don't have something to take their mind off the evil that is in this world, then we won't have to build a bigger jail or a larger juvenile detention facility. So that's where it's all at, and that's where my focus is the children. And if you want to call it a mistake, call it a mistake. I don't care. I'll make it any day of the week. So, thank you.
Looking forward to the West Lauderdale course coming. First meeting in April too.
And my daughter get to come back again.
Yeah, that's good. Mr. Norwood?
Interesting. I agree with Mr. Todd about the young people. We started having that kind of support over the last couple of years with the young people in our district. Other than that, I like to commend those young people. Just like to see them continue to do their best. We'll have a rollout. We're on the roll. I received 3 emails this weekend about the one that we're going to do that. I think we have the issue that we're working out with the state.
We're really working out internally, trying to figure out what we're going to do to repair that bridge.
Okay.
It's pretty difficult to repair. The riser, that's really the issue that we got. Once we figure out how to safely do that, not even so much economically, safely do it, we're going to go out for bids on it. I know, Kyle, I don't want to take words out of your mouth. We spoke earlier today, even possibly having a special call meeting to approve or award those bids, or be asked to ratify and approve after. I don't know what the best route to take on that is, but it is a dire situation that we need to get addressed so that we're not having to work Saturdays and Sundays and all hours of the night like we did this past weekend to direct traffic, especially with issues going on the interstate. Basically, from Meehan, you've got both arterial roads leading off of your interstate closed down. Furthermore, your detour routes, as Kyle had mentioned, are also closed down. Meehan Savoy, granted it's on the other side of 59,
But you can't access Highway 11 from that way either. So we've got a mess out there, and we desperately got to do something.
Of course, Mr. Attorney, can we approve the work contingent on? Because other than that, we got to call a special call meeting and find and we have an issue here. We just trying to work something out to decide how to advertise for it.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of it. So what's the, other than my wife was coming up from Jackson on Saturday and setting traffic and trying to go on the roads.
So they're making.
I didn't know about it that way. So what's, we haven't put anything out for bid,
No, so about, I guess it would be a week ago, Friday, we had to shut down Arundel Road due to Federal Highway Administration bridge inspections. At that point in time, myself, Terrell, members of Engineering Plus looked at the bridge, evaluated the inspection report, tried to come up with a way to repair it. It proved to be a little difficult just because of the way the bridge is set up. We anticipated coming up with a plan to repair it, basically pushing that out to some contractors, getting bids in or quotes in, presenting that to y'all this morning. Obviously, we couldn't get that done last week, but that's essentially where we're still at. I think we pretty well got it figured out. We just got to.
So when do you anticipate completing the specs?
This week. I'll say today or tomorrow. And of course, we have to push it out to contractors. They'll have to return them, quote or bid. At that point in time, we'd be ready to go. I just don't know how we look as far as meeting and waiting again.
That's right. That's my.
Go ahead and authorize them to finish to put the project out for bid, finish the specs. You guys don't do that. The experts do that. And then just go ahead and bid the repairs based upon the engineer's drawing specifications.
So how should the motion?
So what's the, well, just like you do on other projects like this, you authorize to put it out to bid, for repairs. And what's the bridge?
Arundel Road, Hognose Creek.
Do you see that repair being over 50,000?
No.
So we would just need quotes.
That's right.
I want to say on a meeting to get work done.
Well, and then I want to say
you may have to have a meeting, but still you got to go ahead and get the ball moving, put it out, get the request quotes and authorize the request quotes.
Read it off. About 2 years ago, we had the same incident on Murphy Road. And I want to say we was able to, maybe not, I may be wrong on this, but that's the reason I'm asking. We was able to ratify and approve after the fact, as long as those quotes were under 50,000.
Well, to get the quotes, but still you're going to have to award the contract for it. Okay. So.
Okay, well,
I guess special meeting's easy.
Okay.
Is it
Gonna take 5 days though?
So, yeah, but
Yeah,
still,
I know it's in there, but it takes 5 days.
it does. But you're gonna request quotes. You've got a period of time to do that, but it's just a matter of schedule.
Is it necessary, I guess is what I'm asking. Man,
You got to award the contract. So you got to examine the quotes to determine which is the lowest and best on your quotes. That's a decision the board's going to have to make.
yeah. But I mean, essentially, it'd be like going out for, just any other type of repairs or road work, as long as it's under that 50,000. You don't need the PE stamp, you technically don't need a contract, I guess you would say. Is that correct?
Well, you're still going to have to authorize the work, so it's going to be the lowest and best. Best. So, I mean, this is going to be.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm gonna be here, I don't know how many
You're not
more
gonna have a work
supervisors
session,
will be in town, but I'll be here.
Work sessions.
We need 2 more.
I see what Rush is saying, like, if, say, a part goes out on a motor grader, and you have to get 2 quotes.
I don't have to bring that.
You don't have to bring that before the board.
Yeah. Well, we're not.
And if I was,
We've done the same thing too, whenever the feds come in and shut down all the bridges at one time. You come in and the work had already done, then you brought it to us and we just approved it.
Well, you've done some work on an emergency.
Yeah.
It's a different,
So you don't think the bridge out is not an emergency?
so, I'd have to defer to him on that, so.
I would say so.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It's the same scenario.
I mean, it's a problem, but is it an emergency, the concept of emergency?
Yeah, I mean, if it was somebody sick, an ambulance or something, they would be very difficult for them to get to the hospital on a timely manner, because they're gonna do the same thing this weekend. I've been talking to them about this morning, and there are people having to wait 2 hours to get just from Meehan to Queen City truck stop. And so I think it qualifies as an emergency.
If that's not emergency, there's not.
Because they're gonna start on Friday and through the weekend again, this coming weekend, same thing.
And we did classify it somehow as an emergency with the Murphy Road repairs. This is the same scenario. The only thing is we've almost got complacent to bridges being shut down.
What's your cost?
I ain't got one.
Mr. Chairman, I'm move that we allow the road manager to proceed with the necessary work to get this
Bids or quotes.
deals or quotes so we can move forward and getting these roads back open, these bridges back open and stuff.
And you also, as part of that motion, finding that that it constitutes an emergency.
Due to the emergency situation, I move that we have the road manager proceed with the quotes of the bids so we can help eliminate the safety hazard that we have throughout the county with bridges being out. Because not only is, say, a Runner Road Bridge out, that bridge is out on Highway 80, and you can't come around and come that way because it's out. Everybody got to find a way to the interstate to go to come halfway or come back to the interstate to go back the other halfway. And emergency vehicles can't get there. I started receiving phone calls about it over the weekend.
Second. I'll second for you. I'll second, thank you.
I called the question in, so.
Any more discussion?
So you got a motion to amend that motion. So, you moved, got a motion and a second, so now you got a motion to amend that defines it as an emergency.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I so moved.
Well, you don't need any more. He moved, it was seconded, and then he moved to amend, finding it's an emergency.
So we just got to say
second
aye.
that. So vote on the motion to amend.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Now the motion has amended.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. And we've been talking with, I know that's in your district, but it's Meehan folks and stuff. It's joins, lines, everything's right there, but
it's a lengthy motion, but Sandy got it all.
Okay.
They're going to go back and look at the tape.
MDOT has been.
I would have to.
MDOT has been restrictive about us placing signs and because they're repairing a bridge, also, which is got one lane traffic and all backed up. But I've talked to them, we've got permission to place signs, because people, what they're doing is they're just Googling, on how to get there, and they're looking at these roads, but it's not showing the bridges are out on Google, and it's just people getting stuck and everything, because there's no signs on the state right-of-way, because they wouldn't let us put signs.
Correct.
So,
And in our defense, on day one, 11 and 80 was shut down, we went to MDOT. I did, personally. Asked for assistance, because really, that's where those signs needed to be at in order to be useful whatsoever. We was denied that. We don't have the jurisdiction to go put signs up on DOT right of way.
We need to get the Facebook warriors on that. They'll blast that.
Well, I know I don't like
It's
it.
negative, they'll blast that stuff.
I'm sure they would, but
How long do you project it'll take to finish the repairs?
a week.
No, they don't get it free, just tell them.
Mr. President, a comment to go along. You've got the same situation at that bridge that I've been talking about. If it shuts down, you're gonna have a chaos there because of health issues, ambulance, KOA, school bus, and so. And I know Rush is doing everything he can, but as we move forward as a board, and we know a situation, I think we need to expedite little situations if we know.
Well, this was the whole discussion we were having on Thursday. We shouldn't be in this situation. I mean, this stuff needs to be taken care of. Stuff knows that potentially the federal government is going to shut down. I mean, that's the bridges we need to be, that any possibility that they're going to shut them down, go ahead and be working on them now to replace them, so we're not in this situation in the future. We need to be more proactive instead of reactive like we've done in the past.
Y'all give me time, I'll put a bridge or two on that.
But, we appreciate Mr. Matt, just putting signs out and stuff. I mean, it was a mess for people this weekend, and
Still is.
And it's coming this weekend. It's not gonna be, it's gonna be just as bad as coming weekend.
So, well, for the public's knowledge, because I think just about every one of us gotten phone calls about the bridge on 80 out around the stockyard, and cattle, they got a big sale coming up, and they want answers. And let me see if, for clarification, if I understand, that's state aid. Those plans have been submitted to the state. We're waiting on the state.
And now they're also working on easements and right-of-way, and that's engineering plus. But a bridge replacement is not a fast process. We all know that. The public needs to know that. They not only need to know that, they need to understand it.
But we've done our part.
We're doing our part.
Okay.
We'll continue to do our part.
We approved something, I'll put some paperwork last meeting on that.
That's right. But it's not a quick fix. It's not going to be done by the time they meet this weekend. So calling and complaining about the same old things, not to say we don't want to hear it, but it doesn't do a whole lot of good. We're working on it. We know that it's a problem. We'll do our best to get it replaced in a timely manner.
Can we draft up something that we can just kind of make sure we pass on to the residents on the road? Other than that, they're gonna constantly keep calling. Well, yeah, might as well take the time and just go door to door. I don't mind doing that and just let them know, hey, this is where we are. Really. Just get a phone call, hey, you got to Friday and 5 o'clock to shut the bridge down. What are you gonna do? You gotta shut it down.
Yeah, and as bad as I hate to say this, I've been giving a lot of thought about the road department, road and bridge department having their own Facebook site, as well as other means to update the public, especially on information like this, to keep some of these phone calls and headache to a minimum. I'm trying to be really careful about that because I know all the cons that are associated with that. But I think we're getting to a point where it's almost necessary.
Can you block comment?
We're going to. We're going to have somebody that's dedicated to do that. Kristen?
I just know how Rush is. Rush does not need a Facebook page or be associated with that page.
No, I'm not going to be. But that's the reason I'm giving it a lot of thought.
Then we'll be having calls about what he said.
I'll do it in a good way. No, but there is, I've been harping to the guys, we've got to figure out a better way to communicate some of this information that we have internally, get it out to the public so that, one, people know what's really going on, and hopefully we're better off because of it.
Well, and now the times have changed. That is the fastest and quickest way to get information out.
For sure. And I've seen things that
I hate it,
and the
but
sheriff's department do, and
it's the best way.
It works. You just got to control and maintain it.
We probably need to put it out with, the immediate thing, till we get all that set up, is get Odie maybe to push it out about the repairs, people that have subscribed to the Nixon thing.
So why would you need a Facebook page if we got a county website, but you got a tab there for the road manager to post? I guess there's a problem with posting stuff to it to get current information on it.
Push it out.
People aren't going to use it.
Who looks at the website?
We live in an age where you've got to provide everything.
It's got to be on your scroll, on your feed, on a news feed, on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram before they're going to see. They're not going to say, hey, let me go to Lauderdale County website.
I guess I'm different.
Well,
I appreciate that, Lee.
Lee, that's why you represent us.
You gotta get
I
with
do
it.
appreciate it.
You gotta get with it. Well, I mean, unfortunately, that's the day and age we're at.
It is.
I mean, it is where we are. That websites, if you don't put a website, if you don't link a website on the feed, on Facebook or something, people are not gonna go through that. You gotta put a hyperlink on there, they're not gonna.
Hashtag, so.
Yeah. I mean,
Anything else, Russ? Thank you for working.
We'll follow up today.
Okay. Oh, you have anything else?
Thank you for the guys working this weekend too.
Yeah, that was good. That was on mine. You beat me to it. So it was affecting both of us.
I was entertained this weekend.
Yeah.
Residents all on the road.
Sure. Just remind people to not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday, the voting for your House of Representative and Senate and presidential, Democratic and Republican primary. So, a reminder of that. And that's all I got.
What about the trash? How did it go this weekend?
Doing good. I dropped mine off. It's not trash, it's recycled. It's not trash, it's recycled. Trash goes to landfill. Right. Is
saving the turtle.
March 10th.
March it down for the Republican Party to vote.
Yeah, that's right. But if you are going to be out of town like some folks, you need to make sure you vote absentee.
Speaking of recycling, balloon releases is figuring as well because they end up in our release.
I know you're working on that. You need to update Mr. Norwood on that. So. All right, anything else? I guess we need a motion to close my computer to, what's the date on the next one, 16th? To recess to March 16th at 9 a.m.
Executive session?
What? 16th.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.